one of the most famous fighters of his generation fighting in one of the famous stadiums in the world. Can you imagine being AJ right now? A lot of pressure too, though. Don't get it twisted. You've got to perform in front of 96,000 of your closest friends.
Mamma mia, Rosie, a social media sensation turned boxer, has turned the sport on its ear. This is incredible. And what must be going through this 27-year-old mind, like so many members of his generation, dealing with mental health issues? Here we go!
View Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua has triggered intense debate among boxing professionals. Most experts believe Joshua would dominate because of his size, knockout power, and elite heavyweight pedigree. His Olympic background and history of stopping top fighters give him a massive edge. Jake Paul has improved, beating MMA names and lower-level boxers, but he has never shared the ring with a true world-class heavyweight. Analysts say Paul's only hope would be an early surprise shot, yet Joshua's disciplined jab and composure would likely shut that down quickly. Many predict a one-sided stoppage win for Joshua within the first few rounds. While the fight is entertaining as a spectacle, nearly all professionals overwhelmingly pick Joshua to win with ease.
A few times on it. I mean, there's nothing to report to you that it's close or, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Of course, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. We also work very closely with His Excellency, and although we have no contract with him, we're in talks for big fights next year. Of course, Tyson Fury being one of them. So we'd definitely give him the respect of making sure that he was aware of the plan and, part of that plan as well. But at the moment, there's nothing major to report on that. Would we take the fight? Absolutely. I think Jake would be... my estimations of Jake Paul would go through the roof if he signs to fight Anthony Joshua, because I just can't believe in my mind that he would do something like that. Gervonta was a smart one because of his size. I think actually he would have had a lot of success against Jake Paul, but the size is a problem. But this would just be, if Jake Paul was to take the fight with AJ, you'd really have to maybe carry his balls in a wheelbarrow on the ring walk, because AJ wouldn't mess around in there, so it would be huge, but nothing to tell you it's close.
The showdown between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is officially scheduled for December 19th, 2025 at the Casa Center in Miami with global broadcast coverage on Netflix. This is not an exhibition, it's a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight match under Queensberry rules, featuring 8 3-minute rounds with 10-ounce gloves. To level the field, Joshua has accepted a contracted weight cap of 245 pounds, which is unusually low for him. With both fighters risking their official records, the clash becomes a high-stakes event with real consequences. Knockouts are possible, and the outcome will be final and fully recognized.
Happening, Jake Paul will face the 2-time unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua on Friday, December the 19th, in Miami, Florida. It's going to be an 8-round fight with 3-minute rounds and 10-ounce gloves. It's Joshua's first fight since being knocked out by Daniel Dubois in September last year. Jake Paul won a unanimous decision against veteran Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. earlier this year. Well, Jake Paul said this: a professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears and no one can deny me the opportunity to fight for a world title. To all my haters, this is what you wanted. To the people of the United Kingdom,
boxing world and its fan base have reacted strongly to Jake Paul's decision to challenge Anthony Joshua. Many believe Paul's ambition to face a seasoned elite heavyweight like Joshua is unrealistic and overly ambitious, especially considering the vast gap in experience and physicality.
That's right, the real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta And now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind. You're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying? The co-founder of MVP and someone.
But Dave Allen warns that Anthony Joshua could damage his own reputation. By taking this fight, he argues that if Jake Paul even lands a clean shot, it could undermine everything Joshua has built throughout his career. Allen sees the matchup as more entertainment than true sport, and doubts Joshua would genuinely want to take such a risk. He suggests that many serious boxing fans would view the fight as a step backward, potentially costing Joshua respect within the boxing community for facing a YouTuber turned boxer.
Lost to Tommy Fury. Anthony Joshua cannot box Jake Paul. Horrific. He's dangerous for one, and two, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on him, it just diminishes everything that he's achieved. Jake Paul won't last 2 minutes for me. Never mind Anthony Joshua. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
If AJ does say yes to going in against Jake Paul, does he harm his legacy?
I would lose a bit of respect for him. I think a lot of boxing people would as well, to be honest. Why would he box him? 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights the last 20 years, held British boxing on his back. People might say he deserves to box Jake Paul. But why though? Why would he do it?
Did you lose respect for him when he fought in Ngannou? Did you lose respect for Fury when he fought in Ngannou?
Ngannou's a serious fighting man. World champion of the mixed martial arts.
It's a worrying thing, potentially, the damage that AJ could do to Jake Paul.
He'll hurt him. Yeah, Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You wouldn't put the Midlands area cruiserweight champion in with Anthony Joshua. So why would you put Jake Paul in that? Just because he's a superstar? Whatever, I don't know what he does. What does he do? What is he?
A YouTuber.
It's just not worth it. He's got enough money as it is. Why risk all that for a few more quid? I don't like it. I hope it's...
The fight is expected to be sanctioned as an official bout, rather than an exhibition. Roy Jones Jr. has pushed back on the idea that Jake Paul could ever become a legitimate world champion, openly doubting his ability to win a meaningful title. He argues that Paul has avoided truly battle-tested opponents, and if he steps up against experienced, high-level boxers, those fighters would beat him. While Jones admits Paul might eventually receive a title shot, he believes it would only come under extremely favorable conditions. He remains skeptical of Paul's chances of ever securing a real championship.
Paul will become a world champion? No. Why?
I think if they make him fight tough opponents, guys with experience, those guys will beat him. Now, if you catch somebody like myself at the end of their career, or somebody like Tyson, he caught it in the career, the chances are much higher. Because now it becomes more of a 50-50. You got a guy who's better than him, but the age factor. You understand me? And that's the only way to balance it for him to make it a 50-50 fight. Yeah. Somebody who's on his level at the same age, those guys have too much experience. Yeah. You understand me? So he's not gonna beat those guys. Yeah. But you find a guy who is past his prime, who has a mentality further than his, but past the prime, it kind of...
Anthony Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has dismissed Jake Paul's boxing skills, labeling him an average-level fighter. Hearn has repeatedly questioned whether Paul has what it takes to compete at the highest level, especially against someone of Joshua's caliber. He acknowledges Paul's improvement over time, but insists he is nowhere close to the standard required to challenge elite heavyweights.
Good for the sport of boxing?
Yes, I know these guys. They're unbelievably bright. I mean, Logan, much brighter than Jake, in my opinion, but Jake's smart. Okay. We have our ups and downs. Yeah. I respect Jake. I actually respect him in a boxing sense as well. But we fell out because I told him he was average. That's actually a compliment. Like, to be an average fighter, coming to this kid who's 26, 27, decides to go into boxing. We had a conversation where he's actually telling me he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. And I'm looking around for cameras. I'm thinking, am I mic'd up?
Eddie Hearn has also highlighted Jake Paul's outrageous claims, including his statement that he could beat Canelo Alvarez. Hearn considers this claim ridiculous and believes Paul is drastically overestimating his abilities. While Paul has defeated former MMA athletes and limited experience boxers, the idea that he could compete with world-class fighters like Canelo or Joshua is viewed as laughable by most experts.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in France at Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury in Ngannou was when it came around, or, you know, yeah, or Mayweather McGregor.